Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year, right here. This is part 76. It gets a little meaty. One always remembers the worst times first. But mostly they were good between Tess and me. We truly enjoyed each other's company, helped each other bloom at a time in our lives when life is all about finding out who one is, what one wants and doesn't want. To our friends, we were Terry and Tess. The words rolled off everyone's tongue like it was the natural order of things, and in most ways it was. Tess had always wanted to learn French cooking. The big kitchen at her flat in Notting Hill Gate made that doable. I'd help out by providing employee-discounted ingredients from the food halls that might otherwise have been prohibitive, if not unavailable almost everywhere else. She not only became a great cook, but I, as her biggest fan, gained a vocabulary in French cuisine. When Blanche was not away on tour with her dance company, we had many little dinner parties with her and her very funny string bean of a boyfriend named Henry. He was just starting his first post-college job as a mechanical engineer. His goal was to design car engines. Well, I never considered people actually studied for that, thought that the matter was rather settled. You turned the key and the engine started. Once Henry set me straight, it gave new meaning to the words in Little Deuce Coupe and 409, the early Beach Boys songs, the ones not about surfing. But Henry said electric cars were the ultimate goal. I agreed that that was probably true, but it sounded like, the future. Indeed, the year 2000 was a long way off, if we made it that far. Part of Tess's busy postgraduate schedule was conducting supervised sessions with traumatized children, mostly those from abusive homes or even witnesses to murder. When she chose to talk about it, she internalized their pain too. The writer in me found it extremely interesting, but this was serious work which required decompression time. Fortunately, hearing about my day was almost like a holiday. We still saw each other 2 or 3 times a week, had lunch in Knightsbridge, dinner at her flat. We spent most of our weekends together, but the time apart gave us both room to consider our relationship. The specter of my bisexuality, not that we ever used that word, was never far from the surface. In fact, we didn't actually talk about it at all. But lines were blurred one night after another enjoyable dinner with Blanche and Henry. Tess had triumphed over all doubts about the tastiness of liver and onions with a French recipe she had found. Between the 4 of us, we'd consumed several bottles of good wine, my contribution, with indirect thanks to Sebastian, then dessert and exotic cheese and aperitifs, probably Cointreau. Blanche and Henry retired to their room. Tess and I fell into bed, warmed, lusty, and ready for sex. But on this night, I was a little more drunk than usual. I must have been more amorous, too, moving as I never moved with Tess. At one point, I began to slide down past her breasts, below her stomach, and in my drunken abandon, ready to do what I'd never done. Suddenly, Tess was crying. She pushed me away as if she was being assaulted. I didn't understand, but Tess did. She knew. This was not the me with her, but that other me, with those other people she didn't want to know or want to know anything about. She saw how I made love with a man. Whoa. Okay, I'll stop there. We'll continue with part 77 tomorrow. It'll be a lighter ride. Thanks for following along.